Talking to Mike. What's up, Kyle?
Mom's here. Hey, Mom.
Not much. Got a question from the traffic class. So it comes to RVs and campers. When it comes to campers, are they still technically considered like a motor vehicle since they can be moved at any time?
Are you saying like a camper in a parking lot or a camper on the street, or is it a camper in a campground?
A camper on a campground, like our campground, they can take the campers. The guy kicks them out like whenever he wants. There's not like a contract that states you're staying here for this long. He just kicks you out whenever he wants. So that was our question.
Now, Kyle, before you go on, before we answer your question, just make sure to clarify. Number one, what state are you in?
South Dakota.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay, Kyle. Of course. Okay. The next thing is
last week.
Huh?
Are you the Kyle we talked to last week?
Yeah, I'm still waiting on the gun that you offered me.
Did you get your gun in the mail yet?
I have not got the gun. I got the book now.
So yeah, that's a good memory, Mike. So, okay, Kyle, are you talking about a campground that is like it looks like a traditional campground where you know your little spot, 12 marked out, or is it just kind of like a field where everybody just kind of hangs out?
They're marked out spots.
And is it paid or not paid?
It's paid, but the guy like can kick you out at any time. So that's
like a hotel. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like a hotel. Okay, I think I have the answer. And I know what I teach here. I would love first to find out what Mike teaches. What do you teach here, Mike, when it comes to these RVs?
The question's kind of about whether or not the guy can just kick him out for cause.
No. Well, I think it's the motor vehicle exception. The motor vehicle exception.
We're talking about whether or not we can treat it like a vehicle to search. What's the question?
Yeah, right. Kyle, like if you have probable cause, there's marijuana because it's illegal in South Dakota, that you have recreational use marijuana in the RV or the camper, can you search it? Would that be a good question?
Correct, under the motor vehicle.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Kyle, it's going to kind of depend a lot on what's going on. It sounds like this one is a very transient type place that they're just kicking people out, coming and going.
Well, but all fairness, Mike, I think a lot of places like that. I mean, I've been to places where
you got that hotel, right? Yeah, you can.
It has to. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, you're up all night shooting guns off the porch. Giant.
Well, hell, yeah, or your dog is barking. They don't like it. Places are kind of.
Yeah, you violated the conditions of the campsite. Then they can eject you like a hotel. But yeah, to Kyle's question, they're talking about is it a home, a domicile, or is it a vehicle? And I think you got to go look at some of those considerations in here. Primarily is it on wheels? Is it something they could just fire up the key and leave, drive off the way it is right now? Then it's probably going to be more towards a vehicle. Or if it's skirting around it, the shitter hose is plugged in, all the plugs are in there, the barbecue's set up, and it's kind of really set like they're there for maybe like the people, the hosts, that they're kind of set up there for the summer. Well, then you kind of look at those kind of things and go, maybe it's treated a little bit more like a residence or a domicile. I think those are some of the factors that you look at on the front end. What do you think, Anthony?
All right. So I'm going to disagree a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to say that I think the courts are going to want. I think the courts are going to want the camper to be treated like a home. And here's the way that I look at it. Right. I've gotten into the camping world, and I bought an RV, and I've experienced a lot of campgrounds now, and when you have these campgrounds that have a delineated perimeter, right? You know what is yours and you know what's not yours. They have rocks and logs and whatever, and they they just that you bought that piece of land for a amount of time. And when it comes to the motor vehicle exception, I don't like it because these campers are hooked up to sewer and city water and power. They're being primarily, used as a home. And I look at it, Mike, as the same logic as if that camper was in the side of a home, right? Is it readily mobile? Absolutely, right? You can hook that thing up within seconds. But because it's on curtilage, and there it is right there, Mike, because it's on curtilage, You can't treat, you don't have the motor vehicle exception. Why? Now answer this, right? Riddle me this, Mike. Don't you think a campground where you are paid, like you have exclusivity, don't you believe that in many ways that is a piece of curtilage temporarily?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. Right. Okay.
Chair,
So the police come- yeah.
everything's, oh yeah, for sure.
So that's why I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, why is that really much different than that camper being on the side of the home? And I'm going to go with curtilage. Okay. And I think that's, or at least an expectation of privacy. And now you look at the motor vehicle exception, and we look at Collins v. Virginia, which says that the motor vehicle exception is not applied to curtilage.
Right.
So for our friends that are here that don't understand curtilage, it's a 4-part test. Mike, you mind helping us out here? Like, what are those 4 factors that the courts want to see that defines curtilage?
Oh, proximity to the home and the home, right? Say we're talking about residency, which the proximity to the home itself. What do we use it for? Those are your 2 big factors. Is there a hot tub, barbecue, whatever it may be back there? Is there somebody, they put some kind of fence around it, some enclosure around it, or the 4th is they sight screened it? Have they blocked you from seeing what's going on? Those are the 4 factors that you look at when it comes to curtilage.
Mike, do you need all 4? In other words, if you can see it, does that mean it's not curtilage?
Absolutely not. No, you don't need all 4 factors.
What are the 2 most important factors for you?
Proximity to the home and use. Those are the 2 big ones I think really that we need to pay attention to. And so kind of where you're going with this, I see, proximity to the home. Okay. If we're going to look at this RV and the circumstances like the home, and then what is it used for when that kind of that curtilage analysis? No,
I like this because proximity and use. So adjacent, you're going to be, obviously, if you're on a campground, it's probably not that much space. You get a little piece of land, to temporarily use, but you certainly have all the uses. People put out their camping chairs and their fire pits and little barbecue, whatever. And that is indicative of domestic life. And that's why I want to be cautious with telling cops that, hey, if you have probable cause that a camper that they've been living in 2 nights, then just go in there and search the motor vehicle exception. Because yes, I understand that, and I can appreciate that they can be evicted, ejected, whatever you want to say, on a moment's notice because they violate rules. However, it's the same thing with a hotel room, but yet hotel rooms are treated like homes while they're lawfully present. Now, here's a little twist. You ready for the twist?
Sure.
The twist is that I think that in most of these situations, you could probably still search it, not under the motor vehicle exception, but under exigency. Because many of our officers out there that are encountering campers and RVs that are in these delineated spots are by themselves, and they don't have the judge in the passenger seat. What do you think about an exigency argument? Because a lot of times they have the marijuana smoking, or they have the shooting the guns, shooting a 22, which you're not supposed to shoot in a park. What about that argument? Do you think that's viable?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, think about these, they're camping. Hopefully you're away. You're away from society. You're out there a little bit. And yeah, those are limited resources as far as the park rangers or whoever's out there investigating. Can they say, hey, just stay here, I'm going to go get a warrant, or, pause that? Yeah, there's that exigency that the thing can just leave. Now, if it could just leave, then is it now a vehicle?
But again, I think the answer, it's a very good argument, right? But why are we treating it differently than the guy parked on the side of the house in the carport?
Yeah. Now, since we're talking about it here, what about the guy that, was parked in the Walmart overnight? What do you think? Dirt?
I think they need a warrant on that too. What do you think? I'm fucking with you.
Walmart, many people like to call that home. I love me some Walmart, but no, It doesn't have the conditions that you're talking about, like that little delineated area in the campsite.
Yeah. That's right, Mike.
The Dodge Neon that you sleep in, right?
That's right. And so when it comes to Walmart, we're going to use California versus Carney, 1985 or 86. I forget exactly when, but mid 80s. I think it's 1985. But we're going to use California versus Carney, which said that the motorhome was a car, despite the fact that he was living it in a parking lot.
Yep.
All right. Amanda, does the case say it's being used more like a home than a vehicle? No. It's what objectively it's being used for by public standards. In other words, a person could live in their Nissan Sentra, right? And to them, it's like, man, I'm using this thing as my home. I don't really drive it, but it is on a public street. We can't turn those things into homes. Not constitutionally, because it basically there's a what they call a line drawing problem, right? You have the cop in LA who pulls over the car. It's a Nissan Sentra, or the guy is committing some kind of activity crime, and he lives in the Nissan Sentra. All right.